in terms of developing a budget for your project, I think a number that's good to put in for plan check and inspection, because there's a plan check fee and then there's a building permit fee. These are the basic fees that get triggered when you get an approved set of plans for construction. About 3% for both of those is good. So if you've got a $100,000 project, around $3,000 would probably be reasonable. Now, different areas are different prices, but it's pretty easy to figure out. Okay, like if I were going to add, let's just say 500 square feet to this home that I happen to be in right now, I could use a budget number, plus or minus maybe 15% at this point, but a budget number would be about $200 a square foot for the project. And that probably include all costs, possibly. I know some areas are higher than that, but so let's say $200 a square foot. At 500 square feet, that would be a $100,000 project. We would suggest setting aside about $3,000 for plan check and inspection fees. And like I said, that's broken in two. So you pay the plan check fee in order to get the plans reviewed and approved. Once those are approved, they're ready to issue. You actually notify your contractor at that point, and they are the ones that actually pick up the project from the building department. They pull the permit, is what they call it. So they get an actual approved, stamped, signed set of drawings that go to the job site. They're supposed to stay on the job site, and they have what we call a job site card. It's like this big, and it's usually in yellow or orange or green or some bright color so you don't lose it. And it has sections for every piece of the project for the inspector to sign off, because the inspectors go to hundreds of jobs between, they'll look at a foundation on, say, a project that we're doing here. They might not come back until there's framing started. So there's a number of specific sections within the construction documents that the inspector is going to want to look at. And the first thing he does when he comes to the job site, he's going to want to see that inspection card, see what's been signed off by the city, and then what he has to look at. He will use that card to approve the nailing, the shear panels, foundation, framing, mechanical, electrical. There's a whole list. So that's, and those fees, like I said, about 3% cover that plan check fee and that in-field permit fee. You have the pleasure of paying the inspector to come look at your job to make sure you're doing it right, which is reasonable. And they're primarily doing that for life safety purposes. So that's one aspect of fees. Generally, I'll give you a textbook answer on the engineering costs for a project. And soft costs for residential work runs anywhere from about 12% to 15 to 18% of the hard cost. So if you had a construction budget of say $100,000, your general soft costs of all your engineers and things like that could run anywhere from $15,000 to $18,000 is a good number. If your project gets bigger, obviously then everything's scaled up. In those numbers, in what we call soft costs, are generally that plan check, permit fee, architecture, engineering, structural engineering, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, all the development of all the documents for your particular project. So hopefully that's helpful. You can budget those numbers in. We can help you with those budgets, and we can develop an early concept which will very quickly help you, dial in where your costs are and where the project's going to go, and then from that we can help you set a construction schedule. We are involved with all of that. We are also involved with some of the entitlement on the residential properties. We generally, that's a time and material basis, and we also give our clients the opportunity, if they want to actually spend the windshield time to save some money on their projects, we'll be happy to guide them through the process. I just have to warn you though, every time a set of drawings goes in, the first time it comes back is going to have red lines all over it. And if you're a client and you're not aware of that, you look at the drawings and you think, oh, they must have got an F on this. Well, in reality, most of the stuff is just, generally needs to be responded to. We make the changes or add the comments at the end. The plan checker wants, put it back in, and then get a permit and get ready for construction. So it's generally, that even though they bleed all over it with a red pen, I think they get paid the more ink they use. It's kind of an interesting process. The codes are so extensive in California these days that most contractors, residential contractors, do not do their work anymore. I would say 15 years ago, you would probably see maybe half of them doing their own drawings. There's a few that do them, but it's gotten pretty extensive with the Title 24, the green building compliance requirements. And in fact, most buildings are now recommending when you go out to do a project or you talk to the planning or building department, they'll suggest that you get an architect to get the project going. So, and we hope we're your architect. So call us and we'll talk to you. And one thing I think you'll find really interesting is because the architectural industry, we provide professional services. As part of that process, even if you sign a contract for all phases of the work, you're only responsible during that contract for the work that's actually done. So you actually have an exit path if you stop the project, move in a different direction. So that's just something to keep in mind. Our fee structure is set up so that you pay as you go, and we'll help you develop budgets for the project. So hopefully that's answered some of the overall cost factors. Obviously, one of the bigger factors is not so much what it costs for soft costs, but what the hard general contractor fees are. And we help you get multiple pricing on that. And also, one thing that just came to mind is that many homeowners would like to do their own finishes, which reduces the cost for construction of that space. They may want to, or you may want to have a finished shell, as we call it, which is it's an not airtight, it's weather tight. It's has the walls, insulation, drywall, rough electrical, rough plumbing. The only thing it doesn't have are the floor finishes, the cabinets, the tile, the granite, those things. Those can be subbed out separately. And generally, because you take out the uncertainty factor in terms of cost and material finishes, you allow a contractor to get in, get the main structure done, get that permitted, and get out. And then if you want, you can use or offer them an opportunity to subcontract that out, or you can do those finishes yourself. So there's a little opportunity for a little sweat equity there. And we've done that both ways with a number of clients, and they're generally, if they've had some experience, they knew how to use a skill saw or a chop saw or something, a lot of times they'll choose to do some of the finishes themselves. So hopefully that's helpful. We'd be glad to talk to you in more detail about that, about strategy, about how to accomplish what you want for your property. So give us a call at CumminsArchitecture.com. Have a great day. Thanks.